Hello and welcome, I am the Master Arab and you are watching my very first video on YouTube. Okay, calm down, you still don't know what I'm going to be talking about. I am an ex-Muslim apostate and I've spent most of my life living a devout Muslim lifestyle and genuinely believing everything the religion teaches 100%. That was until I decided to learn more about it and read up on it with an open mind. That was when it all collapsed so spectacularly. As an anti-theist, I now feel it's high time I share the information I have stumbled upon, and hopefully it will lead to an eventual demise of all false religions. What? Am I being too optimistic? Anyway, I'll be doing my videos in both English and Arabic so I can reach as wide an audience as possible within the Muslim world in particular. In this video I'll be explaining my background a little, explain what I intend to do on this YouTube channel, and summarize my journey to deconversion, or becoming a revert to non-religious affiliation. Yep, I'm trying to take that back from Muslims who make the ridiculous claim that everyone is born a Muslim. I mean, come on, like babies are born believing in Muhammad as a final messenger. Anyway, without further ado, cue the intro. Now, before I start explaining who I am and why I'm doing this, let me address the elephant in the room and the question that is undoubtedly on your mind. Hello, elephant?
The brother asked a very good question.
Oi, stay out of this. This is between me and Dumbo. No, sorry, I meant him. I was talking to you. Come back. Now, Dr. Zakir Naik can leave. I'll deal with him in later episodes.
According to the Home Department of UK, the most popular Islamic speaker in the world is Dr. Zakir Naik, and the most popular Islamic speaker in UK is also Dr. Naik.
You mean British Home Office? No, not sure anybody actually said that, and if they did, somebody over there needs to get fired pronto. Now shoot. Oh dear, anyway, yeah, the mask. See, I'd love to be doing what I'm doing out in the open. I can use facial expressions, build a profile for myself, which would allow me to engage in public discussions of the topics I will be touching on and feel strongly about. But there are three main reasons why I have chosen to remain anonymous, for now at least. Number one, I'm still in the process of revealing my apostasy to friends and family, and I do not wish to remain in closet forever, but I also don't want them to find out through other means before I can put my case forward to them personally. I want to question their beliefs first, to the point of sowing seeds in their genuinely kind hearts, and maybe that will lead them to accepting what I have to say, or at least be tolerant and respectful of my choice. Number two, I'm a married man with a young family. Apostates not only have to be killed according to many scholars, but an apostate must divorce his Muslim wife too. Even though Muhammad didn't force his daughters to divorce when they were married to Abu Lahab's sons, but since neither were Muslim before marriage, they were allowed to remain together. Since my wife remains a Muslim and social pressures will likely force her family to request a divorce, I'm not willing to break up my family purely because I have a different view on life than the one I was indoctrinated with from a young age. And number three, I enjoy travelling to many parts of the world, including the Muslim world, and would not want to face unnecessary risks of retribution there if I'm recognised by authorities or members of the public. Okay, so that's the mask part over. I'm hoping to produce content in both English and Arabic over the next few weeks and months that aims to tackle falsehoods in the world's major religions, especially Islam and Christianity given their global scope of influence, and expose their absurdities and show why they are not, in fact, religions sent from an all-powerful deity they claim to have created such a beautiful, vast and complex universe. If such a deity does exist, he would be surprised people of religion attribute so many irrational, unscientific and immoral statements and actions to him or it. So on to the background, I was a passionate defender of Islam, who only a year ago, if I'd seen a video like this online, I would have probably wished that the person spouting such filthy lies is killed and dies a slow, painful and agonizing death. I was 100% convinced I was on the right religion and that I had been extremely lucky, not only to be born a Muslim, but also as a Shiite. And when I read Islamic teachings from both Sunni and Shia sources, I arrogantly considered myself more knowledgeable than other humans who hadn't read the scriptures as closely as I had, when it comes to events like what paradise looks like, or what will happen before the end of time, the appearance of the Mahdi and the Messiah, Gog and Magog, who you'll find out about a bit later, and so on. This gave me the incentive to try and proselytize and spread the word of God and guide people to what I had been led to believe was the ultimate truth. But luckily I didn't get very far, as I would have been unknowingly duping people into a successful cult. I had read the Quran from cover to cover more than a dozen times. I never really paid full attention to what was written, as I had no real reason to doubt its authenticity. I noticed a few things, like a contradiction on the length of Judgment Day, why Moses would kill someone unjustly if he was an infallible prophet, why God would approve of a wise man accompanied by Moses to kill a child in cold blood, why does Satan, Iblis, or Lucifer, was described as an angel in some places but a jinn in others. But since I believed the rest of the book was perfect, I was willing to believe the spin and illogical explanations given at the time, and I truly felt it was holy and divine. I was also misguided into believing the Quran had no scientific errors. To this day, I must confess it's written in a rather beautiful way, and listening to the Quran or the Adhan is very soothing. However, that beauty of its poetic language and recitation style doesn't, however, make it a true reflection of reality. For that proof, we need to look at its contents and the history of the religions that preceded it, and whether there is a conflict in the scriptures and our reality, and I can assure you there's plenty of those. When I was still a Muslim, I had always been reluctant to read material criticising Islam, as I guess that's often how Muslims are wired when it comes to tackling criticisms of the faith. At first I stumbled upon such a site by accident when I thought I was actually going to a pro-Muslim website, so I could learn more about my faith. I read a little and I was shocked at what I had read. I was in instant denial, assuming that there was no way such things existed in the Quran. So I opened up the Quran to double-check the sources and read it for myself, and that was the first of many WTF moments I had over the next few weeks and months, as I began reading more and more on the absurdities contained within it. At first it was done with a guilty conscience, and I felt like a filthy traitor. I felt God was watching from above and looking down at me with disgust. But that's because we're wired as Muslims and theists in general to put our head in the sand when we feel Islam is being exposed to indefensible rational arguments. Now I must say, in the period I've come to question Islam, I've learnt much more about it than I ever thought I knew. I really struggled initially and was in denial, thinking it must be true since that's what I've known to be the case all my life. And I had such strong reasoning to prove its validity, so when it came to these new matters that were previously unknown to me, I couldn't open up and admit my doubts to friends and family and try to reach an explanation with them. So I began educating myself by listening to debates between atheists and Muslims on YouTube, reading what Muslim preachers had to say in response to some of the criticisms that had instilled doubt within me. After all, it's only fair to see how Muslims counter such strong arguments against their faith, but I never really found logical explanations that were anywhere near satisfying or coherent to me, as I was looking at things with an open mind and could see straight through the desperate spin and special pleading. Luckily, as a fluent Arab, I could see through how they radically alter and change the meaning of literal words and could easily spot other deceptive meanings being used. I also read through lots of hadiths and different exegesis of the Quran in order to see what early Islamic scholars in particular had to say about all this. After all, if the Quran really meant something other than what is literally there, who better and more objective to show us than the people who studied closely with early Muslims, some interacting with Muhammad himself like Abdullah ibn Abbas. These people tell us a more honest and less manipulated version of what the Quran actually says, if they didn't have the benefit of hindsight regarding scientific understanding and modern standards of acceptable morality regarding matters like slavery, among other things. After all, I needed to make sure that I wasn't coming to conclusions prematurely, because if I had got it all wrong, and Islam was in fact true, I could suffer the punishment of eternal hellfire, and that was just too risky. So I needed to be certain before I decided to finally ditch religion and publicly debunk its myths, and encourage hopefully more people to leave this blatantly man-made and harmful religion. Someone may ask, did you ever question your faith when you were younger? To that I would reply yes. I did want to reach my religion through conviction and not inheritance, especially as the Quran marked the idol worshippers at the time of his message as gullible and unintelligent, as they merely accepted the version of events they were told as children by their parents. I thought evolution was just a theory, not understanding that it was established fact, and the word theory meant something entirely different in a scientific context, and I thought it was merely a simple argument for those who have no faith in a deity to try and explain our origins as species. Now I've seen evidence overwhelmingly supports the theory, and proof continues to stack up against the beliefs of the Abrahamic faiths, on issues like Adam and Eve and many others. Back then I thought one of the world's religions was probably true, so it was easy to dismiss other faiths, for instance a faith where you worship the sun. Now that we know it's only a star fusing hydrogen into helium and creating plenty of energy in the process, it was easy to avoid Judaism, as it seemed to be a very racist religion where you are born into tribes that are favoured by God and others are created to serve them. I thought the idea of Christianity was weird, that God needed a son to appear and preach, and that we were all automatically sinners and our only salvation is accepting Jesus and therefore having our sins disappear, whatever we do. Islam generally made more sense than the others, and I still think its basic teachings are a little more logical to accept than other major faiths. But before any Sunnis out there claim, aha, no wonder he left the religion, he was a Shia before, and they do these crazy things like cut their heads and whip their backs, I would say, A, not every Shia believes that's a good thing to do, as it's something that was introduced to the sect way after the 12 Imams apparently lived, and I was among those who despised self-flagellation. And B, if I were born a Sunni, I would probably have left Islam long ago, as Shias can dismiss the hadiths gathered in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim very easily, whereas Sunnis are more likely to believe them. So I wouldn't have been prepared to accept that, for instance, Adam was around 30 meters tall, and humans continue to get smaller when no such fossils have been found, and science tells us humans have gradually increased in height as time progresses. Examples of other bizarre Sahih hadiths are Muhammad's recommendation to drink camel urine as medicine. Muhammad's uncle Al-Abbas quotes him as saying that there are 8 giant mountain goats above the 7 heavens and below the throne. That if you fail to get up for Fajr prayers, it means Satan urinated in your ear. That the sun rises between the horns of Satan. So yeah, many hadiths, if true as Sunnis claim, show Muhammad was a charlatan much more clearly and instantly than trying to read the Quran in its complex literary style. Now, this being my first video has actually gone on for a lot longer than I had anticipated, and I apologize for that. But my next video hopefully will be the 7 reasons why I left in Islam. I'll be explaining them one by one, where I'll try to explain how I've reached my conclusion that religion is all man-made and has absolutely nothing to do with divine revelation. So I hope you tune into that one, as you will likely hear stuff that will make you say, what? But I will provide you with sources to my arguments, so you can go and check them yourself. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, share this video, and comment below if you agree or disagree with me. Please keep it clean and respectful, as insults are only needed when one needs to supplement an intellectually inferior and weak argument to give it the false impression that it's strong. Also, follow me on Twitter, where I must confess I'm not extremely active yet, and connect with me on Google+ or Facebook. Also, if you feel it's about bloody time that an ex-Muslim is posting videos online about his former religion to an English and Arabic-speaking audience, so humanity can progress without the shackles of illogical religious tribalism and the exposing lies of religious preachers who mislead the gullibles. We waste our time convincing people that the earth is not flat, Noah's Ark is a myth, and that we didn't descend from Adam and Eve, so we can collectively put our minds to better use and get on with making the most out of this one precious life that we have. Ooh, that was a long sentence. Then please sponsor me however much or however little you can afford to on Patreon. The link in the description below, so I can dedicate more time to this cause and produce more content in both English and Arabic. Till next time, seek out the truth, but only if you can handle the truth, baby. Because otherwise, you'd seek the truth and then just ignore it, which will just make you willfully ignorant instead of plain old ignorant, where you can actually be forgiven for being ignorant. So, see you next time. Peace out.